This is exactly how I built an SEO strategy that gets me motivated sellers in our local market every single month. Obviously, I'm a real estate wholesaler and flipper, and SEO is a big part of our business. Once we got SEO to get actually successful, we went from 3 to 5 deals per month to 10 deals per month every single month consistently. And the reason is because Google is simply being at the right place at the right time all the time. If you are ranking your website and Google Business Profile for multiple different keywords, you are going to get consistent motivated sellers. I'm only in a city of 250,000 people, and we get 10 motivated sellers in our market, in our local market only, every single month. And there's a lot of strategies on how we did it, but it's really simple. SEO is very simple, but it's not easy, and I want to go through basically the main parts of how you get your website to look exactly the way it looks on the screen here. So obviously, for us ranking Sell My House for Cash, we have PPC up there, as well as our Google Business Profile, as well as our website. And then if you go to cash home buyers in our local area, we have some PPC here, our profile there, as well as our website. And so there's a correlation here as far as when it comes to real estate investors who are trying to rank their website, there's really no perfect keywords. There's really no keyword research that you have to do or really have to narrow down what keywords are being searched up the most in your area. Because at the end of the day, if you rank for these 3 keywords, Sell My House Fast, We Buy Houses, and Cash Home Buyers in whatever local metro market that you do deals in, you are going to be very successful, because if you can rank for all 3 of these, at least in the top 3, you are going to be able to rank for all these random keywords that motivated sellers constantly look up. I like to use this example recently, but 2 weeks ago, we had a person come through our website that looked up the keyword realtors who buy houses, right? Nobody's trying to rank for realtors who buy houses. That will probably get looked up once every 5 to 10 years, right? There's not many people looking that up, especially in our local area. And so you want to rank for those 3 keywords, because if you rank for those 3, you're going to fit with all the other variations as well. And that's the game. It's simply getting your website to appear at as many searches as possible and many variety of searches as possible, the fastest and the longest and the most consistent. And that's the game at the end of the day. And like I said, SEO is simple but not easy. Let's run through exactly how you do it from start to finish in part form. We're not going to go in depth. I'll have videos linked in the description. This won't be about Google Business Profiles. Google Business Profiles, I'll link a video in the description to go ahead and watch start to finish on us making that, as well as a more in-depth video that's an hour long of me going through and getting a website ranked from start to finish. So anyways, we're going to start with our website. As far as the parts of like, okay, how does Google decide what ranks and what doesn't at the end of the day? Well, at the end of the day, Google, their job is to provide the most relevant and credible search results for someone looking up an inquiry about anything, right? That's what keeps people coming to Google. And that's what also keeps people paying them for ad spend so they can be at a sponsored ad on these keywords, because so many people use Google. And how do they keep people using Google? By having a really high quality product and giving them the answers that people are looking for. So how do you do that at the end of the day? Well, like I said, all you need to do is stay relevant and credible. What do you do? What do you do to stay relevant and credible? At the end of the day, you need to make sure your on page and your off page are locked in. They need to be locked in. 99% of SEO is what's on the page physically. Now, if we go on my website here, we can go through here and you're gonna see what's on the page, the design, yada, yada, nothing crazy. Now, I'm gonna tell you this, what's the design doesn't matter. But what does matter is the content within the website. The words, the word count, the headers, the images, everything. They take all of it into account. Now, what you need to do is you need to understand, okay, where does my on page need to be? How many words do I need? How many headers do I need? How many images do I need? What type of words should I use in my content? All of this is based off the factor of using competition analysis. I will link a video to analyze your competition down below. Go ahead and watch this video. It'll teach you everything you need to know about analyzing your competition and seeing exactly how you build your blueprint to make sure that you rank, right? Because if you're all out of whack, so say, basically, I'll go in short with competition analysis. If your top 3 competitors, you want to go after your top 3 competitors who are ranking consistently, how many words do they have, how many headers do they have, etc. Now, if their average word count is 1,800 words and you decide to use 6,000 words on your webpage, it's going to be terrible. It's not going to rank well, right? It's going to hurt you because you don't want to be too little. You don't want 300 words, but you also don't want 6,000 words. You want to stay within your average. You want to fit in the SERP, the search engine results page, like sardines, right? Because with Google, they don't want a specific outlier. Whatever your top 3 competitors were doing obviously worked, right? And every market's different. What works on my market is not going to work in Las Vegas, is not going to work in Miami, is not going to work in Pennsylvania. It all varies every single metro market. So do not copy my website or anything like that. It all varies on each market, and you have to find your blueprint. Now, you execute on it, you write your content, you make sure you're dialed in with your competition analysis. Like I said, video link below and exactly how to do that. Now you just need credibility. What does credibility come from? Well, it comes from a few different sources. Most of it is going to be backlinks, essentially. I would say that's around 90% of it is backlinks, and then I would say 10% of it is traffic. We'll get into this. So backlinks are basically, if I was to write an article, say that the New York Times wrote an article about my company, Sioux Empire Home Buyers, and how we're the best home buying company in the Sioux Falls area, Sioux Metro area, and how you shouldn't choose anyone else because we're the best, right? You get it. Now they write this article, they link to our website in the article, right? Basically what that does to Google is Google, in their mind, obviously they trust the New York Times a lot. They're a very credible website. They give them a very high authority score. So when you get an article written about you by the New York Times linking to your website, to them in Google's eyes, that's wow, okay. So if you're friends with the New York Times, so are we, so you're automatically cool. You're now in our social group. And if you get enough of these, you are now getting brownie points, right? You get brownie points on top of being relevant. You're now gaining credibility by getting brownie points in Google's eyes. That's literally the game. That's what it is. Now, obviously, it's easier said than done. How do you do it? What strategy you use? Where do you even start to get links like that? Really, all you need to do is I like to use, and this is also, I forgot to mention this is our lead flow as far as the past 3 years total. In the past month, as you can see, we have 10 leads, got 2 in the past week. It's solid. I mean, SEO is simply the best. For the amount of money you spend on it and the time and the effort, it is worth every single penny because you're literally sitting here waiting and people will just come in on your website and ready to sell their house fast. It's insane. It's seriously a cheat code. It really is. And so I like to use SEMrush quite a bit. This is obviously a paid service, so it's not anything that you would need to be required to do. Now, what you can do, and I will use an example because I remember looking at this company recently, and what you need to do is you simply need to go to their backlink profile. And obviously this is a different domain, whatever. But basically what you can do is you can type all your competitors' domains in here. I think SEMrush costs $130 a month, so if that's worth it to you, cool, go ahead. And basically you're going to look at all the backlinks they have, right? You're going to go through and see what they got. And at the end of the day, if you can mimic their profile, if you can get essentially the same links they have, you're going to be in your A game. You're going to be ranking well. Obviously, it takes time. It takes effort. It takes practice. It takes a lot of skill to get backlinks. But at the end of the day, if you can get these same backlinks, like for example, a Zillow profile, you can go ahead and make a Zillow profile. That's no problem. You can make a Pinterest profile. Now, as far as all these other ones, right, you'll have to reach out to these companies, right, like upcity.com. You'll have to reach out to them, email them, say, hey, we would love to provide value to add a guest post on your website, right? And sometimes they don't accept guest posts. Sometimes they turn you down, right? And that's how the game is, and that's just the game of SEO. The game is just being as relevant and credible as possible. And you have to understand the game. You have to build a system of exactly of doing that. And it's not as hard as one would think. Now, with that being said, obviously, I do this for real estate investors across the country. Obviously, it works for my own company very, very well. And so it's something that I've used the same system essentially. Obviously, other areas are different. And you have to use the same strategy but different tactics within that to get them ranked. But at the end of the day, if you are interested and you want to get your website, Google Business Profile, as well as PPC campaign to look exactly like ours, Feel free to click the link below, marketingformotivatedsellers.com. I'd love to chat with you as far as what the options would be and if we're a good fit for you. So it's one of my favorite things to do just because I truly do believe in it. It works in our own company very, very well. So it's something that is tested, proven, trialed, errored, and it works. Getting your website and getting your Google business profile on Google to rank for high motivating keywords works. But at the end of the day, you only need to remember these two things: staying relevant and credible. Make sure what's on your page is relevant to what your competitors are doing. Video will be linked in the description, as well as making sure that you are credible in Google's eyes. Get the brownie points, right? Some areas are going to be easier than others, right? If you have a 20,000 person town versus Miami, we're totally different spectrums. You're going to have to be a lot more credible to rank in Miami rather than a 20,000 person town. You may not need very many backlinks if you do your on-page correctly. So I'll have a link in the video as well on how to get backlinks, but that's really the end of the game. That's what it is. It's simply just getting your website relevant and credible to get up there. Obviously, it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. It might take, I shouldn't say might, it will take 6 to 12 months minimum, no matter how big or small your market is. So with that being said, if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. It helped me out a lot. Thanks for watching.